just inside there is the throne room, which is where you can see all those lamps all the way along, basically giving us daylight. Not that you think you'd need it on a day like this, but it gives you very directional daylight, and it makes that room look absolutely glowing. Good grief. See, you've never crowned anyone before.
Yeah, we're affected. Known as Feisty Felsted.
Feisty Felsted. All the crown, the fiery art department.
When the audience met Uther, he was a tyrant and a despot, and he set people on fire or chopped their heads off if they messed with magic. So basically, he's sowed his seeds and reaped the consequences. Trying not to breathe, trying not to move is very hard. Sorry.
Sorry.
I always knew Uther had to shuffle off this mortal coil in order for Arthur to basically take over and become king.
We're in the throne room at Pierrefonds. This is a very historic and momentous occasion. We're crowning Prince Arthur, who will now become the King Arthur of legend.
I crown you, Arthur, King of Camelot.
And we're doing it with a very complex shot.
Long live the King! 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 Long live the King!
This is a crowd replication shot, which means we take 70, 80 extras and we try to make them look like about 800. And it's a very laborious process where lighting has to match, where people have to be moved around and fitted into the right grids. But it's far cheaper than the alternative, which is to digitally create this crowd.
Then by the sacred law vested in me, I crown you, Arthur, King of Camelot. Long live the King! Long live the King! Long live the King!
That's my son being crowned now.
Long live the King! Long live the King! Long live the King!
Arthur being crowned is a huge moment, largely because it's kind of what we've been working towards for the whole time the show's been going. I've been waiting for that crown for a while.
Quite yet.
Now it's going to be sitting in its right place.
Long live the King!
Arthur's come a long way from where we first met him, because he was not a very likeable guy when we first met him, but the aim has always been that he starts off at the bottom and gradually gets to become that king that we're all familiar with.
There's something about you, Arthur Pendragon. Something which gives me hope for us all.
As his father dies, there's nobody else of a family nature that he can turn to. And I provide a big shoulder for him to cry on, and he listens to what I say. So I have an undue proportion of influence at court.
You're to take this, bears the royal seal. In my absence, responsibility for the kingdom rests with you.
What about your father?
Should he die, you're to assume the throne. Just grateful you were here.
You have so many different kind of tones to the show. There's the very banterish relationships, and then there's some very sort of quite serious moments that require a different kind of mindset. And then also you have this CGI element of having to use your imagination to pretend that the plank of wood that you're fighting is actually a fearsome beast.
This year has been difficult for me because a lot of what I've done has been CGI. We have a huge new green screen, and I did a big sequence of scenes on that. And when you're trying to imagine a ruined castle that's 4 stories high and you're in a green box in Cardiff, there's only so far your imagination can go.
You must be strong. Remember that.
Help me, Amrith. Please.
Is this really what you wanted, Morgana?
We start with, my hair goes in all these sticks. They're all wound up, so because it goes into dreadlocks, then they're left there to sort of set, and then they start on my face makeup, which is sort of halfway done now. And then Carly starts adding pieces, because it's not all my own hair. This is not real. I think a little over 2 hours is my limit. I couldn't do what Carl does with prosthetics, where he's sitting there for 4 or 5 hours. I think I'd go insane. We've got 2 units running today. So we've got second unit, which is pink unit. Got main unit, which is, you know, the white unit. And then we've got all this to learn. And so on any given day, you can do scenes from 6 different episodes, all back to back and all over the place, which can be a little confusing.
Lay up on back.
As you can see up here, this is our street. This is where Guinevere lives and where they come and drink in the tavern. So Guinevere's house is up here. Our tavern is beside it. And this is obviously where the non-royalty of Camelot live.
That's better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
No, it's better. It's better, love.
1596, take one.
And action.
In this scene, Gaius has come to discover that Gwen has been knocked out and 2 guards are with her and they're dead, but he gets to her in the nick of time.
Leave his hand there when we say
Just
freeze.
absolutely still, like he's playing statues. Freeze! Turn! Cut. I'll buy that.
Cut. Yeah, good. That's good. Yeah, great. Check the gate. Thank you.
Okay, for rehearsal and action.
The knights do represent a sort of ethical code. They believe in justice. They want to help people. I think the great thing also about all the other knights, Lancelot included when he was introduced in the first episode, he doesn't come from a noble background as such. He's not from the aristocracy or from the king's world of Camelot. I started riding about 7 years ago on a job that I did. I got proper training. These horses are very well trained, though, in general, the ones that you ride in films, because you get spoilt. I think afterwards you get on another horse and they just don't do what you want them to do. These are very good.
They said, hey, why don't you learn to ride a horse while we're filming the show? And I did. I really enjoyed it. French horses are so well trained that they actually make you look really good on a horse. The truth being, I'm distinctly average when it comes to horse riding. Arthur is a much better horse rider than Bradley is, anyway.
Huh?
One of the riders is going to come off and his foot is caught in the stirrup. He'll be dragged by the horse and then he can actually release himself from that. But we've got a loose horse, so that's why up this end we've got grooms to catch the horse and stop it running around base. So it's a bit tetchy, but hopefully we'll catch the horse.
We need a good shot of the impact when the guy hits the ground. That's the most difficult one to get because it's very hard to predict where he's going to land. So we're now going to put 3 cameras on the impact, covering different positions on slightly wider or tighter lenses, and hope that those 3 cameras together will get us that moment. It's not competing with British television. It's not got to be like British television. It's not a cop show. It's not set in a hospital. It's competing with Hollywood movies. You're right! So the challenge for anybody making a program like this is you have to bring to a television screen cinematic production values.
The darkest hour is just before the dawn.
Each year of Merlin, we have grown and learned and become better at this, and I hope delivered higher production values.
You are honest and brave and true-hearted. And one day you will be the greatest king this land has ever known.
Good to know I have the support of my servant, at least.
This is an incredibly powerful legend. There's a feeling that you're tapping into something that's very deeply part of us. The programme's allowed us to do that in lots of interesting and unusual and original ways because our take on the legend is a bit different.